live streaming Facebook is like the Bermuda Triangle to me. I don't understand what happens. It works and then it's broken and then we come back and it's healed. And I just don't, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We test it and it works and then we go in here and it doesn't.
Oh, you're live on YouTube, it says. I just got a YouTube message, Patrick.
I don't know.
The YouTube and Facebook join.
Patrick, do you own a software company, bro?
I gotta hire somebody. I gotta get someone in here, man. It's all smoke and mirrors. I'm not with tech.
I don't know, man. This is beyond Patrick's techie pay grade, I guess, man.
I guess so, man. Streaming a group is like that's more than a software company.
Live on YouTube, but I don't see us in the group.
Yeah, I see us live on YouTube as well.
Hey, dude, why don't you just shoot Zuckerberg a text, Patrick? Maybe he can fix it.
He's been so slow with responding to me. I'm tired. I'm frustrated with him, man. Like, like, all right. Well, we got the recording. I guess we'll just post this later. I guess it'll hurt our attendance a little bit today, but it is what it is. I don't understand this. The miracles of live streaming is beyond me. All right,
I actually prefer when everybody's forced to come to the Zoom meeting. I feel like it brings better energy.
Yeah, there's no one hiding in the corner, huh? Cool. All right. Well, with our limited affair here, who's got wins? Did any of you guys have any wins this week?
I did a presentation on Zoom this morning. I was actually just covering for another marketer. She was on vacation. It's pretty interesting.
Nice, man. That's cool.
So, put in the practice.
Yeah. Well, I've got a win. We did, there's a big SEO group that we did a live stream into earlier today. There's like 80,000 people in here. It sounds kind of strange. Here's the deal though. It's like we own an agency and that agency is based on rank and rent, right? So we have a marketing company and then we have the software company. And just because of those two things doesn't necessarily mean that we're like super well positioned to market the software or even like it. So this was an eye-opening experience for me. It's like we spent all this time on building the product and like trying to get the support dialed in, which is complicated, more complicated than I thought it would be. And it's obviously nothing's perfect with this. But then I had this like idea, like, man, we should try to market our software. We should try to let other people know that we exist. And that was kind of like a light bulb moment because we haven't done that. I haven't spent any money on paid ads. We've only done like webinars. And then we appreciate you guys. You guys have driven our business a lot with the referrals that like, not just the people that are on this call, obviously, but all the people that are in the groups that are constantly referring. So we decided we would come up with a promotion to kind of like accelerate that, or maybe, so we did this group today. The guy who owns Legit, if you guys haven't used Legit's awesome. They have a lot of awesome services in there, from citations to buying backlinks, all sorts of different things. I think a lot of people try to compare them to Fiverr, but they're not. Their services are kind of more vetted, and the people in there are higher level, and you can like trust the reviews that are on there for the most part. A lot of it's ordered by marketing agency companies, right, that are ordering this. So their evaluation of a successful gig from them is a lot higher than on Fiverr, where it could be someone who doesn't really understand SEO or marketing and they're trying to like evaluate this. So you can kind of trust their reviews more. And so we've been using them for a number of years. And the guy who owns it, Chris Walker, he's got a big group and we were able to present inside his group. We're doing another group, I think, next week. So a lot of awesome stuff, wins for our company that we're really trying to move things forward. So that's my win. Jeff, do you have any wins from our agency? I think
I got
another client.
Yeah, I got a client. She was actually an ex-client who paid us a startup fee last year and then got too far over the skis into a deal that she didn't get paid on right away, and just kind of took her down in her business. She had two different niches that she was in. So she had to bow out, and we basically just kind of gave it away to another client that we have who is like a bigger client, that it was fine just to add it to what he was already getting. And then he just didn't like that market. And so eventually we peeled it back off, and I sold it back to her again, because now she's in a better position. So it's kind of the way things go, it's kind of a roller coaster sometimes with clients coming in and out, but we built a good relationship with her, and she was more than happy to come back on once her business, was in a better position to do so. So those long-term relationships, I say it all the time to clients, and we act as if we want them to be long-term, and then that just becomes and we can go back to these people and maybe resell or get a different kind of deal going when the time is right. So that was a big win for us.
Never really burning those bridges, right? And a lot of times the way that it can be perceived on our end can kind of feel like this client is being bad to us in some way, and they got their own life stuff going on. So just kind of realizing that and being respectful to them, and like just doing your best to never have that kind of bad ending to a relationship. You don't know, we've had clients that we've lost that have referred other people to us, right? Which is like the referral is, if you're doing things really well, then you get a lot of referrals. And I've said this before, if you can get one referral per year, then you get to 52 clients, then you're going to get one referral per week, right? And that is enough to grow a massive business in this industry. And those referrals are easy to close. And a lot of times the person, if they like you and they respect what you're doing, they're going to vet the person for you. So they're going to be better clients. That's what I've learned. I see Mr. Greg Adams is back. What's up, man? How are you? Looks like you're in a new location.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm back up here in Nevada, going back between 4th and Texas to Nevada. Going to finish up some business up here. So that's what I missed last week. We're doing some traveling. So just to piggyback on what you just said and what Jeff just said, I closed a deal last week with one client, and he's a recurring client. So he wants to go off into another, a similar niche, but another niche. So he's like, look, he likes what I'm doing with this one over here, and said, let's move forward with it. And I positioned it too, where, hey, I'm going to build his website and building this out. But I pitched it like you taught right here and said, look, going forward, this is what I want to do. I want to be a partnership within this. And he totally gets it, because he likes what I've already put with him. I said, look, you know how to run your business right there. You know how to get the jobs. You got the insurance for all that. I know how to do the leads. And he goes, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. So that was my win.
That's awesome, Greg. Building that trust. I like one thing is just kind of like be careful and make sure that you pace the clients, right? Because a lot of times when you start off and they're impressed by what you're doing, and they're like, oh, can we go into this market, this market, and this market? And then, like I've said this before, a lot of businesses, they don't die from starvation, they die from indigestion. And it's okay to push this back and be like, hey, I got to make sure that like these first 2 markets that we're starting with, I got to make sure that we're successful with this. And I want to push these back. I want to be able to focus on this and not divide my time, right? And they'll respect that, and they'll trust you more for that. And it's going to give you a level of protection. If you don't have like all the systems in place and you try to do all these at the same time, it can be overwhelming, and you can also, here's something you can also do is like, you can also start it on your own without necessarily telling them, so that the pressure's not on, right? And give yourself a little bit of leeway here. And sometimes like one market can pop off faster than another one. And you can always get like, hey, I'm ready to go after that other market now. I've actually got some stuff in place, and I wanted to get the clock started, but I was worried I wouldn't be able to give it my full attention. So I built it, I put some stuff in place, and now we're starting to get some stuff coming in. So here you go. That really builds a lot of trust. Just be strategic.
That's exactly what I did. And we're not switching gears. We're not going something else. He's already in a home remodeling. He's just trying to niche down in specific area. And I'm still doing his other stuff. And I told him, like, this is going to be hard. I said, we're not going to have a home run, next month. He said, this is going to take time. It's a tough niche. I said, but we can do it. I said, we got to be patient though, but it's not going to happen overnight. And I kept repeating on that in several calls with him. You know, he's anxious to go on. I said, yeah, we can do this. I said, but you know, it's going to take us time. So he knows that, and he's still running the other business. So we're just kind of transitioning into it.
Cool. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, right on. All right. Cool. Who else? We got any other wins? I see Nolan Mason is tuning in the middle of the night from Ireland. We appreciate that. Looks like we've lost our buddy Beer, and he finally decided that he's going to do some sleeping instead of jumping on our call. Cool. Do we have any more wins before we move on?
I just want to add a little bit of nuance onto what we were talking about before with treating clients right. So I know that Patrick had a client that I wasn't even managing. I think it was last year or the year before or something, and he got into financial trouble or some kind of personal trouble. I can't remember what the exact situation was, but he wasn't able to pay, and Patrick let him ride for a couple of months, and he was so grateful for that, you know, giving him that kind of a leeway and working with him to get him back right-sided, that he started referring it. I can't, how many people he refers? A dozen people or something? It was crazy.
Yeah, maybe 2 dozen. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like,
not all of them became clients. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of them became clients, very few.
Some of them became clients, but just to have that level of commitment and just, you know, honoring the relationship that way. If you treat people right, you know, they'll treat you right back. And I know that we could go and ask that guy for anything and he would do it.
Yeah, he's given us, you know, postcards and all kinds of stuff. He was going through COVID, and his wife like divorced him, and there's just all this stuff was going on at the same time. And you got to look at this and be like, guys, in the end of the day, and I've said this before, this has become our motto, is when you stop focusing on the money with these people and start focusing on the person and their story, and make their story a part of your story, this like competitive beast comes out in you that takes things to the next level, and that creates a lot of success for them. That puts them in a position to create success. So I was listening to this guy's story, and I was like, hey, this is what he's going through. We have a lot of, you know, we have a lot of clients paying us a lot of money. So it's not that big a deal to not have that sold for a few months. And this, he'd already paid us, and like, he'd already done well. So just to kind of give them, like, this is another human, right? At the beginning, we start this business to feed ourselves, that Maslow's pyramid of needs, right? At the top, we're going to like ensure our own security and all this stuff, and then kind of move down. And it's about having an impact on people, adding another client or another like $1,000 or $1,500 to our revenue. Like, it's not going to change a ton, but for him, it meant avoiding bankruptcy and having like being able to feed himself. Like, what's a better way? Like what's your why for your business? Is it just to like make your life better, or is it to have an impact on people? If it starts to be like a mission-based business, then those ones are always more successful, right? So
just to pick up that thread a little bit, I mean, it goes into the entire mindset of the way that Patrick, you know, when Patrick pitches, he's pitching that. He's like, you know, I could close this deal with you right now. It doesn't matter to me, because you're not going to move the needle from, even if we're selling him on a $3,000 startup fee. What he's straight up like, your business is not going to make a huge difference to my bottom line. I'm not even going to notice it. And when that confidence comes across, and they know that you're willing to walk away from the deal, but you're pitching it in a way that is completely centered on what they need, you know, and it's like, it just comes across in the way that you position everything. And it's so powerful. I mean, it's amazing. When you
Jeff, maybe we like this people can tell, like, it just because like I played poker for a living for 10 years. So maybe I can smell bullshit a little bit better, but honestly, most people can tell when you're being genuine and when you're not, right? And when you have kind of the courage to say like, hey, you know, I built this business, and at the beginning, it was really about, you know, me taking care of my family and providing. And now we have clients all over the country. If I sign you up, like, I'm not going to really like, I don't want to diminish you, because I really want you as a client, because I want to help you, but it's not going to make a huge difference to my bottom line. But what will matter is if I have a big impact on you, because that's what it's moved to for our business, is like, you know, having, making a difference for people. And we talk about this a lot in our agency, And honestly, like over the last like 4 or 5 months, we've lost, like our agency we've lost clients, right? We had the Google update in January. I think it's hurt us a little bit, but that's okay. Like we're still doing really well. And when you have that confidence to just like walk away from a client, they understand that you're not desperate. And if you can actually listen to them and you come across as genuine, that's one of the most powerful sales techniques that exists, right? If you're just like connecting human to human and they feel that, rather than like, so, I've done a lot of coaching calls with people trying to close people. And it seems so, for me, it seems so manufactured listening to people and so formal, where it's just like, really what we're talking about is a human connection here, right? If you can just like, hey, what are you looking for? And if you can be sure in what you're doing and have the certainty and the belief that comes across, and it's made it really, really easy for us to close people that I'm not even trying to close, people that I'm like, hey, unfortunately, we're backed up. We can take you 6 months from now, but we can't handle you right now. Like, what if I pay extra? Can we go now? Like, no, we have a commitment. And it's crazy how different it can be if you kind of get rid of that desperation and you can still speak with certainty. And
sometimes I tee them up too. It depends on the client, but I'll tee them up and have them in a really good spot. But then if they're kind of like iffy on the payment, I'll be like, well, I can't even bring you on as a client. You have to talk to the CEO. Like he doesn't want to do business with anybody until you talk to him, until he talks to you first. So then I'll just be like, put him off, get Patrick on a call a couple of days later. And then Patrick comes in and finishes it off, so we can play it that way too. There's all kinds of different ways that you can position yourself to be that authority and to be the one that they're dying to do business with,
Yeah.
And
Jeff and I have like, we've done a lot of good cop, bad cop, where Jeff is like he builds a relationship a lot, right? So I know not all of you guys have a like full-time salesperson, customer manager on your staff, but Jeff, I never want Jeff to kind of like damage the relationship with the person, but he's kind of like set things up as to where I have the final word and they know that. And when they get on the conversation, then I can say, look, this is what I'm willing to do at this price. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to go away from that. And Jeff gets to still maintain that relationship, but I can kind of come in with like, and be a lot more direct. And, that's worked really well for us where, Jeff makes it seem like he's fighting for them as much as possible. Yeah. Like, hey, I'll talk to him, but I can't guarantee anything. And then I come in and like, look, we can't do it at that price, or we can do it at that price for the first month, but then it needs to go here. I know what this is worth. And it's easier when there's that kind of like one step away from the relationship to come in there and really make demands, right? And also having a salesperson, like the positioning of how that looks, where it's like, I'm not the CEO, I'm like, I work for the company. That makes it look like we're not working out of a garage, right? That makes it look like hey, this is like a legit company. That substantiates this, that we have this like nationwide network that requires to have a salesperson in place. And, it doesn't always have like, whether you have a full-time salesperson or not, you can kind of like create some of these dynamics if it's necessary. All right. I know Rafael, your hand must be getting tired because it's been up for a while. What's up, brother?
I just want to share a win with you guys. I did it like you said. I pre-sold a lead generation for $2,000. And after one deal that he closes, he start a monthly payment on it. So I'm pretty stoked on it.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. It's great to, I love doing it that way where you don't have the pressure of like, this person's paying every month and you're going to lose them if you don't produce, right? Like if you don't have leads coming in, I think you're going to lose them after month 3 if they're paying every month. But doing a startup deal with like, hey, you don't pay anything until like this happens, until I put money in your pocket, takes the pressure off of them. Like they don't have this like vision of this going on forever without money coming in, right? Because that's what they're concerned about is like, I was talking to a guy this afternoon who has like potentially doing some like marketing services for our company. And, you know, if you're going to add on a fee on a monthly basis, like what does that return look like? But if you're saying like, hey, don't pay me again until I put money in your pocket. Like if he told me that, I'm like, okay, here, go, because I don't have any risk. Like my risk is very limited. I'm paying this initial fee. So I think it's a great way. Plus it like allows you to, it covers almost all your costs, right? While you're trying to rank this thing in your time, and they've got skin in the game, right? I don't know why it took me so long to realize that, but that's awesome, Rafael. I think that's a great way to scale is to like collect the startup fee, build the assets, and you can be building multiple of these at the same time, right? So
Yeah,
congrats on that, man.
That's awesome.
Cool. All right. Do we have more wins? We good? Okay. I'm going to cover a couple things, and then I'm going to do a little spotlight session on someone in the call. So I mentioned that we had we've got a couple of deals for you guys. So here's what we can do is we've got a lot of referrals from you guys, and that's what has like helped us grow a lot, and we appreciate that. So this is what I'm going to do is like for anyone that refers somebody, if you refer someone, their first month will be free, and your month will be free. You can stack these up too. So if you want like 3 months, refer 3 people. I know that this like Legion space is a tight-knit community, right? Additionally, anyone that ports in phone numbers from another phone system. So if you've already got a phone account, this like you can't just like port in one number and like, hey, all right. No, that's not how it's going to work. If you port in your numbers, you're signing up for a new account, your next bill will be 30 days. So your first month will be free on the phone system, right? And if you refer someone who brings in, so if you have an existing phone system and you refer somebody that brings in their numbers, their month will be free and your month will be free. So there's a lot of ways to get free LeadSnap stuff here. I'm thinking about doing a contest. I want to see what the all right. So I'd love to see like not in the Zoom chat, but in the Facebook chat. If you guys are interested in this, I was thinking about running like a referral contest where I could do some private coaching. Maybe I'll give like 3 or 4 hours, separate sessions, like okay, maybe like three or 4 1-hour sessions to whoever wins the referral contest. So we could track the referrers and say who came up with the most referrals, and then that person we can jump on a call and dive into your business and see exactly what's going on, where you're stuck. Sometimes you can got like Spencer was, where you can kind of be pushed up against it for a long time and you're stuck, and then you just need a little bit of tweak to break through, and then you can kind of like take off again. So you can get free LeadSnap, right? Free months, free phone system potential, and coaching. So a lot of people have come to me for coaching. I haven't really accepted it. If I was going to do it, it would be hard for me, like financially, to justify it unless I was saying like, hey, it's going to be $1,000 an hour. Like that's how I'm going to consider my time. So I'm willing to give you 3 or 4 hours of one-on-one coaching for whoever wins this. But first, before I launch that out there, I would like to hear what does it sound like something that's cool for you guys? So I know this call, like because we suck at streaming, we couldn't get this into the Facebook group. So I'm going to look at the feedback that's coming in there. What I don't want to do is give away like 3 or 4 hours of my time, and then the person had like 2 referrals. Maybe we have to set like 3 or 4 hours, but a minimum of like 10 referrals or something like that. Yeah. So it looks like Spencer, you want the LeadSnap gear. I'm talking to my man Frank about getting our next order of LeadSnap gear going through. It was hard when we were like in an RV, like to travel and collect this stuff. So yeah, we're about to click the button on ordering our next stuff. We just got to figure out exactly what we're going to do. But yeah, man, that could be maybe that's part of the referral win. So you get some coaching and you get a little swag bag, right?
Swag, yeah. He's also asking about the affiliate code. How do you get credit with the affiliate code?
Yeah. So within the top right, is someone else talking, or is something weird going on there?
Spencer.
What I was saying is that how we're tracking the contest is through the affiliate code?
No, so I think what we'll do is like when a new person signs up, you can put there's a spot that says referral name, and then you would also just say like, hey, I'm sending over this person. You can just like send me a message and say, hey, I'm sending over this person, and we'll track it. This referral contest occurred to me about 40 minutes ago. So I don't have a lot of stuff set up for it, but I'm like, man, we get a lot of referrals. We want to grow and we haven't been focused on it. So it seems like a natural thing to try. You know, I know that you guys refer this because you trust in us and you believe in the product, and that's amazing. I appreciate that. But maybe we can like incentivize for this to happen more often. So that's what we're going. I know that there's a lot of people, like we're all friends with other digital marketers, so it makes sense. Like other people are using other programs, right? So there's ones that have Falcons and Vikings in it. And my viewpoint is like, I think someone would use one of those only because they don't know that we exist. I feel like we have a far superior product, right? So use your guys' powers, you know, if you want to be salesmen and push what we do, we would appreciate it. And we're willing to like reward you for it as well. So yeah.
And if you have questions, if you have like detailed questions about it and stuff like that, go through me so that we can keep Patric's time a little bit freer, and I'll kind of coordinate if you need questions answered and whatnot.
I appreciate that. That's a good number 2 right there. That does that and takes stuff off my plate. So thank you for that. So you've got phone system free for a month if you port in your stuff from another phone system, right? If you refer somebody for the phone system, yours freeze for a month, theirs freeze for a month. If you refer someone for the CRM, for that part of it, you're free for a month, they're free for a month. So a lot of different ways to get like free for a month type activities there. Okay, cool. All right. So any questions on that? We good? All right. Let's talk to Spencer. Spencer, you had a win, right? You closed a new person, $3,000.
Yeah. I mean, that was just one of them from coming back from vacation. But yeah, that's the one I posted about. We wrapped up the deal this morning.
Awesome. So Spencer, you just took a 2-week vacation to like New York, and I think you were taking multiple people on this trip with you, right?
Yeah, five total.
5 total.
3 kids and my partner Jen.
Okay, so I hear that New York's expensive, right?
Yeah, that trip was about $20K.
20K. Were you in a position like has there ever been a time in your life where you've been in a position to go on a trip like this and take people like that?
No, that's the amount of money my mom made raising me per year. So
yeah, that's a far cry from just dropping that on a trip, right? And you were doing this. I noticed like through Facebook and stuff, you had all kinds of pictures being posted. So it seemed like you were pretty active and like focused on your vacation rather than like in the weeds in your business, right?
Yeah, for sure. The one agreement that Jen always knows is no matter where we are traveling, because we do like to travel and plan on traveling a lot more here in the future, is she has to give me a couple hours in the morning to check in with my team, get emails answered, take care of my clients, and then it's time to go play.
Okay. How many people are on your team right now, Spencer?
Let's see, 3, 4, like 6.
6?
But I deal with one team lead, and then he distributes it from there.
Okay. So you're basically, you have a like a daily sync meeting with one person on your team, and then this person delegates to these other people, right?
Correct.
Now this like daily, this team lead that you have there, how did this guy get trained up to be where he is?
So he has, he was referred to me from another guy that does the same type of work as we do, as a VA back at like in October when I started implementing your strategy. And he just, just started off as a small team. And as we grew, he just kept hiring people and hiring people and hiring people to keep fulfilling on our end of the agency. It's been a process of us creating our own SOPs. We've had tremendous growth, as a lot of people in this group are aware. And when you have tremendous growth, you're going to find the holes in the ship, and it comes quickly. So I've been bailing water for like the last 6 months, because you go from 10K months to, 30, 35K plus months, like that, the holes in the ship are exposed very quickly. So that's been, the process. They have all the back end skills. It's kind of one of those things, like if somebody said they have experience in a business, that's great, but you don't have experience on how I want things done. So it's just the tweaking of how we do things and how I want to do things, that I write the SOPs for, and then I train him up, and then he delegates it out.
Okay. So what was it about this person, and how were you able to identify someone that was going to kind of have this trust and ability to, I mean, he's handling a lot of your business, right? That's a pretty delicate situation. How did you know that this was the guy?
I didn't. I think initially we had him build 10 lead gen sites for us. And just as kind of a intro, let's see how you guys do with these. And then it's just progressively growing. He's young, he's in his mid-20s. He's eager to learn. He is in the process of, he's been together now for about 3 years with his girlfriend. He's truly in love with this gal. Needs to build a house before he can actually marry her. That's their, their beliefs, their religious beliefs. Her
This person over in the Philippines?
Pakistan.
Pakistan. Okay.
So, Pakistani Muslim religion. I don't know if it's all Muslims that are over there in Pakistan, but his future wife's family has basically said, you build a house for her or we're going to marry her to somebody else. And so he has this drive to consistently fulfill, grow, and obviously needs to get paid. And for me, we're talking about earlier on the call, it's about making changes in people's lives. And that story, yeah, I mean, it could be bullshit. I have no way to verify it except that he's invited me to his wedding next year. and so
yeah, I'm just wondering, like, what happens after the house is built, and he's like, peace out, Spencer, I've got one.
Well, that's fine, because I have all the SOPs, and I know how to now go and just plug and play into another team.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm sure, you build this relationship with this person, like they're obviously going to still need income, and now like they become more valuable, right? As you guys build trust and get to know each other, and he develops this skill set. So you're kind of like developing an asset within the company, right?
Yeah. And we're still learning. I mean, we're now, somewhere around 6-7 months into this relationship, and there's still on a daily basis, I'm saying, hey, this is how I want things done. And we need to do it like this because of this. And there's a lot of time going into this. In the meantime, I'm doing my best to replace myself, list out the duties that I don't want to do anymore. I mean, I was optimizing GMBs for the longest time because of my ego. I felt like I didn't want to give, because he's not exclusive to me yet. I don't have enough work to basically hire the full team. Well, there's some guys that are exclusive to me, if I should say, but he as an agency is not exclusive to me. He still does, side work for people. And with that being said, there's techniques and methods with what we do is with optimization that I didn't want him taking, I felt. But there was a period of time where I was like, I can't continue to do this on my own. It's time consuming. And what I want to do is continue to keep my foot on the gas pedal, and allow these people and trust on them that they're going to be able to do things. And even if they are taking some of this methods and they're taking and doing it for somebody else, I don't care, because at the end of all of it, I'm still winning and my clients are winning.
Right. It's kind of the abundance mindset is like, okay, so it sounds like this guy has his own, like you work with him, and then is he delegating other people on your team, or he has his own team?
He has his, well, he's hired 3 developers for me and a couple GMB people, but he does have a bigger team than that. Those people are exclusive to me and to my work.
I see. Okay. How are you measuring the productivity of these people and of him? How are you gauging whether what you're paying him is being successful with what he's delivering?
I pay him per project.
Okay.
And obviously there's certain ways that, so for example, on website builds, I complete the site layout. I tell them exactly what I need and what I'm looking for, and I lay it out step by step by step. After I've done the research on keywords, location, everything, and then I submit it. So we're slowly have this part that I'm still part of, which I'm slowly replacing myself with, but I can also go in, and if they've optimized a GMB, I go and I check their work, I look at it, I make sure that they've done things correctly. Eventually I'm going to replace myself from having to do that and, hire somebody like that is kind of a hybrid of Jeff that's working with the client outreach, but also working as my middle person with being that middle person between me and my team, to where they're able to basically just take care of that communication between clients and my team. And then also like, I don't know what you'd call it, like a review process.
Got it. Okay. All right. So what are you paying this person for like you said, we're paying them for like a website project after you deliver the keywords and what you actually want from it. How much would that cost for a project? What would be an example that someone could set a baseline for if they decided to pay people that way?
Yeah, most of my sites that we're building, it doesn't matter if it's a lead gen for myself or a client site, is anywhere from, I would say, $300 to $500, depending on how many pages and how much content.
Okay, so what would a $300 site look like?
Like I would say about 10 pages.
10 pages?
With about, on the service pages, anywhere from, about somewhere around 500 words of content on service pages, about 1,500 ish on the homepage, 1,500, 2,000 on the homepage.
Right. What would you expect the turnaround time to be on for a $300 site from this guy?
About 2 weeks.
2
max.
weeks? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you say you're like throwing water out of the boat, and the holes that have been created, but you've got this guy that's kind of like delegating to the other people that he's essentially hired to be a part of your team. What are some of the holes that are in there? And are you working, is this guy a solution, or are we going to have to do something else?
No, this guy is the solution. It's that, number one, I've never ran an agency in general. When I was at my 10K months for, God, two years ish before I implemented your strategy, I was fulfilling 100% of everything. And that wasn't due to ego. Yeah, maybe part of it was, but a lot of it had to do with just not knowing where to start. Where do you go get a VA team? How does that work? Once I was able to do that, that was huge, because I was able to now focus on really the things I want to do. And I know how to do it. I know how to do everything. I just don't want to do it all, if that makes sense, So for me, it'd probably take me 2 weeks to build a dang website, and it would look like junk, So I have to make sure that I know, I know how to do these tasks within the agency. When I was in the restaurant business, working as an executive chef, you had to know every position in the kitchen, even all the way down to washing dishes. And I still think that is the same for an agency. At least have a general concept, because, there's been situations where I've heard stories. I think you even have problems where team members are screwing you. And if you didn't have a general idea of what's going on, you could be getting screwed left and right. And so for me, I want to have I never want to be as disconnected from my agency, where, I'm traveling so much that I'm disconnected, that being taken advantage of. I still want to have a pulse on things, but I also don't want to be the guy that's doing everything. So just building trust with these guys, knowing, and it's a slow process of making sure that they understand what the quality is. And they understand. I'm like, I will never put out something that's subpar. I will lose money before you guys put out crap. So setting that boundaries and setting your expectations with that team. So hiring the team was a huge piece of this, Patric. And then it's just really, I mean, I hate to say it, it's rinse and repeat. There's stuff that I'm doing, you know, like a lot of us, I think, get caught up in this social media piece of things where we're addicted to likes or comments and stuff like that. I literally tell everybody, like, you guys all know what to do as far as, you know, proof posts on Facebook, showing what the skills are that you guys have. And make sure that you just don't pay attention to that stuff and just know that you're posting, because there is a ton of lurkers. I don't know how many people I've booked appointments and that are clients of mine that have never once engaged or commented on a post of mine. They comment, they'll book an appointment, they'll reach out, whatever the case is, message me and say, hey, I've been watching you for a while. I think I can trust you. You look like you know what you're doing. When can we get on a call? Those are the best. Like I just had a conversation today from a gal that had booked an appointment when I was on vacation. And she's like, you're the first person. I've worked with a lot of SEO companies. And she was saying that I actually feel like you're just super down to earth and I can trust you. And that's a huge compliment to me, because I pride myself on not screwing people. And I always use the analogy that, you know, just like you as a contractor, contractors get bad reputations as well. So you and I both understand what it's like to be kind of swimming upstream when it comes to marketing versus, you know, contractors. It's the same situation. So there's definitely bad people out there. And you know, I think the huge thing too, Patric, is being able to just get that piece of confidence when you can go into major cities like Seattle and dominate half of Seattle with a rank and rent site with only 1 GMB. You know you're doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you kind of alluded to what sounds like a prospecting method. I know that the strategy I taught with posting videos into the Facebook groups and kind of having it be that Trojan horse strategy of, hey, I'm just going to give this person help, but it's an opportunity for you to demonstrate that you're an expert on this. And then is that the, like, I think you've had a lot of success with that. Am I correct in saying that?
You're talking about the audit videos?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really like, unfortunately, that's the other piece of this too, is that I saw this with my previous business where it's that foot on the gas, foot off the gas, because I am wearing too many hats. We don't prospect as much as I need to be prospecting. It's crazy. If I actually worked as hard on our own personal business as I work on growing other people's businesses or my rank and rent sites, my agency would be a lot bigger.
Well, there's also water to get thrown out of the boat. And like you said, when things grow, they break things. Mm-hmm. And when things break, let's not try to grow them. Let's grow more, right? Like that's going to, like, you've got some issues to fix. It's the same thing. You know, we're in different spots in our agencies, but we've been in the same spot for a while where, like, it's hard. We have all these people to service us, and it's, you know, we got to like pause for a little bit, slow down, retool so that we can go faster, right? You're going to hit these thresholds. And I remember telling you when you started landing some of these people, and I think you had 20K, it's like, look, I'm really happy what's happening, but there's going to be a threshold that you're going to hit here pretty soon where, like, it's going to break stuff. Growth is not supposed to look like that. It's just like, it's not how it works. It looks like this, where we're like, and then we take another step up, and then we do another one, right? And that's what you're dealing with. You're on this step, and you got to beat the boss at the end of the video game level, and then you get to go to the next level. And the good thing is the levels aren't equally spaced apart, right? Like, you went from 10K to 35K, right? And then I think your next level is going to be around like between 80 and 100K. And then I hear the next level is 250K a month. Like, so there's different things that you have to have in alignment, and they're not such a stress until you put more force on them, right? And you know, you have more people asking you questions, you have more employees, you have like more leads. It finds the weaknesses in your business and then hey, the problems, I always think it's harder to go from like 0 to 10K than it is to go from like 10 to 50 or 100, right? Once you kind of got that momentum and you have the confidence in yourself that you can solve these problems, then it's just like, okay, I already know, like you already know, I assume that you're going to solve the issues that you have. It's just a question of when and like, what's that system going to look like, right?
Yeah. And honestly, it's so it was right around the holiday season. I chatted with you. You shared with me just putting together the audit videos using the LeadSnap heat map software. That honestly, you guys, is the magic sauce of all this growth. I mean, I hate to sit here and say it's all Patric's, it's 100% my success of this recent growth in the last 6 months is due to Patric, but I mean, essentially it's my hard work combined with his methods. So it was originally a post that I did in a couple groups where I was offering audits to people because we'd had such an amazing month. That turned into us landing a whole bunch of landscaping clients in a group. And now it's just became a basically our standard of how we I guess before we jump on calls, it's not really, I would say yes, prospecting, but even if somebody just reaches out and they're like, hey, I see the magic that you're doing on, online, I want to get on a call with you. I try to not even get on that call until I've done a full audit and sent it over to them, because I can tell you guys that phone call is the easiest close. And I've been in sales for 10 plus years now. I would say probably about 15. It's the easiest close ever, because I've shot holes in a kind way in their business. And I've shown them like, hey, this is how we can help you. And people are extremely visual. And when they see that heat map software and I go through and I actually show them what the map pack looks like, and hey, this is where you're positioned. And oh, hey, by the way, I'm going to send you over these links so that you guys can play around with this as well. That's like, I mean, that's 100% like transparency, you guys, to where they're like, okay, there's no way this guy is like screwing around and maybe, showing me some fake stuff. Like these guys are going to get that heat map software and they're going to click around, they're going to play around with it. And then they're going to look at your proposal. I'm actually even just sending proposals right over with the audits now. And I'm actually going through the proposal a lot of times line by line when we first send it over and explaining, okay, this is the solution to this problem I saw. This is what's going on with your site. It needs more content. So this is the solution. Then they'll book another call typically. Hey, when can we get on a call? Then that next call is, hey, Jeff, what was it that you particularly like? What was it that stood out on the audit video that made you want to get on a call? I can tell you, like within the first 3 to 5 minutes, this person has regurgitated and thrown up all over everything about how PO'd they are with their current marketing company or what they're not doing, and give you all the, like, it's the easiest close in the world. Okay, great. Well, what is it that you guys want to start with? Or do you guys want to do everything on the proposal? And then they pick and choose, or they go, well, what do you think is going to be the most important to start off with? And then we bring results consistently now. To where I have these people that are out there, my cheerleaders now, that are, sending me like truly, like I'm not even having to coach my clients a lot of times. They're just sending me stuff that is the most ideal proof post of like, dude, the ROI on this has been huge. We just closed blah, 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 3 deals this week because of you at a 30,000, whatever it is. They're just sending that stuff over. And it's like, oh, this is easy. And so now for me, Patric, it's all about just how do I rinse and repeat? How can I just continue to keep doing this and keep leveling up?
Once you kind of have that sales skill with the secret weapon, you've got this well that you can go back to, and it's easy to go and like, it's kind of like if you have this little pond that's full of fish, like more fish than you've ever seen, and you go catch it anytime you want. But after you bring it back, now we got to like prepare it, clean it, cook it, all this stuff that takes more time, right? And that's the fulfillment becomes the weight, right? Because we can close someone in a day, but it could take us 6 months to rank the site or 3 months to rank a site, right? So it's that process and kind of pacing them for that. So one of the things that you shared I've talked about this a few times, but it's been a little while. So I'm gonna share this with you. And this maybe will resonate with you when you're talking about the ego stuff that you're dealing with, where you're doing maybe the things you should do. You guys see Excel? Is that what you see, like a Google Sheet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you bump up the view?
Yes, sir.
There we go.
How's that? Okay. So these are, I just kind of threw together a few actions that you guys are maybe doing in your business, right? So if we look at this, they all have an hourly rate. There's an hourly rate in this column here, right? So let's say we can buy citations, right? That's easy. You know, we can do them ourselves. So maybe like you do a day where there's like 2 hours of citations, okay? And then maybe backlinks, those are a little bit more high level. We can also buy those too. So maybe that's actually, we'll spend like 3 hours on building backlinks and you know, I've probably put the site building stuff over here. So if you're doing that, we'll put 2 hours in there for working on a site. Maybe this one is actually, because this takes some SEO knowledge to be able to do this. So maybe this is a $20 an hour for niche research. And we do like 1 hour here. And so now we've already spent like 8 hours and we haven't left a lot of time for this other stuff. So maybe we do one sales call, or maybe we do a couple sales calls. I would put this over here. This is like spent 1 hour there, and then system building. I think that's going to be in this column too. So this is like what a 10-hour day. Did I do that right? 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you were to kind of total up the value of your day, so these are $2,000. This is $2,000 for those, and this other stuff you've got $3. So $6. You spent 2 hours on a $3 an hour too. So that's worth $6. You spent this. This is worth $30 plus this one is $50. So you've got $56 plus 20 is 76. So you spend eight hours for like essentially to do $76 worth of work. Where over here, look at this. Now we've got $2,000 coming in, right? How do we build a system that handles a lot of this stuff here, right? So we shouldn't be doing that. That's not how our day should look. Our day, what if our day, and this is where Spencer was when his income jumped. Spencer was spending a lot of time on calls. I know because he was like, hey man, I had like 9 appointments. So his day, when he went from like $10,000 a month to 25 and then 40, and he had a $10,000 day. What do those days look like, Spencer? Do they look more like this or like this, where you've got like 8 of those?
Yeah, of course. And now you guys, I'm a lot more protective of my time as well. So I'm not just jumping on like before. I mean, I'm sure like everybody's been here where you're just jumping on calls because you're just with a hope and crossing your fingers that, hey, this might be a sale. Now with that audit, you're getting a lot of that, like that reasoning of getting on a call out of the way. And now when they're getting on the call, they really know that, hey, it's closing time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, kind of like spending that a little bit of time before that so that you can make sure you're getting on the right calls. But here's the problem I think a lot of us have is in this business model, we can sit down and be busy all the time. Like they're like, I could go through my sites and I could find, oh man, this is like, let me go find a backlink opportunity. I can do that. I can always do that. There's a never ending amount of work that's associated with running this business. There's always another keyword that I can rank for. There's always some like optimization I can do. And until you have a plan of what the week's going to look like and what you're actually going to do, like you're going to get sucked into these columns all the time. Like you're going to spend a lot of time doing this stuff. And maybe that makes sense when you're getting started for maybe 2 reasons. The first is you need to learn how to do these things because it's going to be hard for you to manage some of this stuff. I wouldn't necessarily want to learn how to do citations, but being able to understand how backlinks work. And this is another one I probably wouldn't do actually now you mentioned it, like site building. If we can just like hire somebody and we can understand, like we can tell whether the site's built or not. We may not, if we don't understand backlinks, we may not know the value of what, hey, is this a good link or a bad link? That's something that you need to understand when you're going to start paying people and you're going to start scaling it. Right. So some of the stuff you want to do, niche research. I'm not going to hire that out at the beginning. I need to learn how to do that. I need to learn how to identify good markets and bad markets. And then when I train somebody, I can know whether they're choosing the right markets, right? Sales and this stuff, as we move over into these columns, it gets harder to find someone to jump into these columns for you, right? Which is good because you can sell those ones off last. So this is the kind of stuff you need to spend less of your time here. If you want to make more money per month, spend less of your time doing the things that aren't worth that money, right? It may mean that like the first month you're paying somebody most of what's coming in, and as long as your bills are covered. I'm not telling you like, hey, hire all these people and then like don't have enough money to feed your family. Don't do that. But what I'm saying is like, if you have the opportunity to not do these citations backlink, and there's dozens of these things like GMB optimization. That's something that can very easily be turned into an SOP in a process, right? So you can do those, but really building the system, right? This is why I put this one over here. You build a system, you build the SOPs, you've got videos with step-by-step guides on how to do these things. And then somebody else, you do that one time, and then someone else for the rest of time, they do it for you and they do it exactly how you had done it because you built it into a system that makes complete sense. That is a good use of your time because you're doing it once and then it's going to be repeated by somebody else that you're paying $3 an hour, $5 an hour, right? So you're kind of like taking that off. If you have the skill set to rank sites, then you should not be working for $3, $5, $10 an hour. That's not where your time should be. It should be spent there when you're learning. But you're learning, it's not $3 an hour in that situation, right? It's $3 an hour plus this like valuable skill. But as you transition, like Spencer, you should not be in there like building backlinks because you can, or optimizing your GMB because you can, right? Let's like for you, what it sounds like, you need to be over here in this category a lot, right? You need to be in the systems building. You've got like, hey, there's holes in the business that we've discovered. How can I identify those holes and solve these kind of like bigger problems, right? Because that's the $1,000 an hour activity. And hey, this number doesn't have to stop here. I've had the opportunity to speak at events. Maybe that's a $10,000 an hour activity. One of the strategies that I used when I first started, this is really where we blew up. One of my first prospecting methods is, I realized that the people that we were working with were buying their materials from like a company, and they had like these reps that were in between it. So they would like talk to their rep, and the rep would like order, and they were like this in between. And I'm like, oh, okay. So these people that are supplying the material, they benefit when the contractors are successful, and the contractor benefits when they get more business. So I found one of these reps and I was like, hey rep, what was that guy's name? I don't remember his name now, but I was like, can like, this is what we've done. Here's proof. Here's stuff all over the place. Can you get me in front of one of your, like someone high up in your company? And like, I'd love the opportunity to be able to supply them with more business. And that's going to be a win-win-win, right? If you can get me good contractors, they get more business, they order more material. It's a win-win-win. I knew going into this what their fear was. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie 8 Mile by with Eminem. So there's this. It's not necessarily about rap or anything like that. There's this part at the end where like he's got all these things that they can make fun of him for, and he basically calls it out prior to the other guy. It was a battle, so they're going to say like, hey, this is the bad stuff about you. This is the bad stuff about me. So he's like, hey, I do live in a trailer. I am white trash. Like he said all these things, and it was the other guy's turn to talk. And he's like, he didn't have anything to say. So when you're going into sales, it's a really good technique. It was like, hey, I understand. And this is what I told the manufacturer. I was like, I understand that you're worried that maybe we won't deliver. There's probably a lot of people that say that we could do what we do, right? So I was taking away their objectives before they even had a chance to do that. And I said, hey, I've got a potential win-win-win. I had picked off, I think, all of their objectives. Like, why don't we do this? Let's take away this risk for you. I'll build 3 sites. You pick 3 markets with 3 of your great contractors. Let's see if what I'm saying is true. No cost at the beginning. Let's just see what happens, right? And they said, okay, we'll do it. So I blew it up for these 3. Then they put me in front of a room with 30 people. There's 30 people in this. So I had the opportunity to go speak at this event. And this is where we're doing this. I don't know what my hourly was. It's more than 10,000 because of the 30 people, I closed 18 for $1,500 a month, right? I spoke for 45 minutes. So that's getting into kind of that higher category. And this can keep going up, but you have to think about it and you have to identify the fact that these categories exist and they are directly correlated with your income, right? And if you don't pay attention to that, we can stay busy all day long in this like $3, $5, $10 an hour activity. How can we get into these higher zones? It's like you look at somebody like Elon Musk or like some other top entrepreneur, Jeff Bezos, right? They're spending their time over here, and they force themselves into that category. If you're not conscious of that, you can waste a lot of time in these other areas, and you can tread water. The time that you spend, we all have 24 hours in a day. The more time that you spend moving to the right of this spreadsheet, the faster you get to the numbers that you want. But you got to pay attention to it. I would track it, track your time. All the top leaders, entrepreneurs, they say, pay attention to your time. Be like brutally honest about what you're doing with your time and what the value of that is. When you start to make that shift, I think you're going to see a big change in things. All right. Spencer, do you have anything to add to that?
No, man, I think that's great. Yeah. Honestly, it's about doing those tasks that know your worth, you guys. If you guys can delegate things, trust me, there's not a person on this call that can build a better citation than a VA if they actually know how to build citations or backlinks. So like, don't get caught up in the weeds. We all know what we need to do. Go after those big money making activities and things that really fire you up. For me, it's getting on phone calls with prospects and having that conversation about sales. And then eventually cloning myself to where there's more salespeople than just myself, because, like Patric's talked about, we're all going to max out at something at some point. And I want more of these 2-week vacations I just came from. And it's funny, we just got back from vacation and on Monday, we booked a trip to San Diego in August for my birthday and one to Cabo in September. So it's like, that's the life I want to live. And so temporarily, I'm going to be the face of this company and keep pushing forward and making sure that my clients, or when they're prospects, are actually having a conversation with me, and then eventually hire myself and Jeff to take care of my people.
Yeah. Good luck finding him. Hey, a question, Spencer, are you having your VAs log into LeadSnap to work on GMB optimization and whatnot? Is that in your workflow?
Not currently, because it wasn't part of the SOP that I initially had put together, because I was waiting on my API. And then once Patric started offering LeadSnap APIs, I was able to get my access back. So currently how we do it is I make every one of my clients add myself as well as my team as users to the GMB, so we can just go right in and not have those security issues from logging in through an email process.
Gotcha. And then Alfredo had a question. Is he still on, or did he drop off? I don't see him.
Looks like he dropped off.
Yeah, okay. It was really like, should we go in and support each other's posts when you're posting the prospecting in the Facebook group? I don't think it's necessary, because you have a lot of organic coming in, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that a lot of the groups that I'm prospecting in, I make sure that I'm the only marketer in there, and I'm not pushing like a marketer, because there's a lot of noise in these contractor groups.
Yeah.
And like, they hate marketers in general. Contractors hate us.
Yeah, they get hounded. Here's the thing is, they don't hate us. They hate marketers who hound them that don't deliver.
They hate the game.
I know that my clients love me, right? Like they've done all kinds of things. Like one of them, my favorite college sports team, Michigan football, one of them got me like almost like 50-yard line tickets 10 rows back, because he loved me. So you need to interrupt the pattern, though. That's the key.
Right. That's the opportunity. That's the way I see it. I always see that as an opportunity. They hate Home Advisor, and they hate all these schmucks calling them every day about, can I speak with the business owner or whatever. That's this opportunity in my eyes to just
100%. So it's important that we understand why they hate marketers. And then we need to use that to differentiate ourselves. So like, I think one of the first versions that you sent me over one of the videos that kind of crashed, right? It wasn't working. And I was like, dude, you sound like a marketer. Don't do that. Sound like this is like a gift and just like, hey, please like take this. That's a complete pattern interrupt for them. And when you can interrupt that pattern, they're forced to like, what is this new thing? Like what, like, you know, if you're driving down the road and you see like a bird, you're like, oh, okay, it's a bird, like whatever. But if you see this like thing that's like you've never seen before, you're like, what was that? Right. And if you can do that with marketing, you get a ton of attention. That's what marketing is. Marketing is not just like repeating what everyone else does. It's like, what do I need to do to capture someone's attention and then deliver a message and value that they're going to latch onto? So most of these people they have no creativity and they're just going to like do what everyone else has done. And they're going to call these, like you hear it on these calls. Like how many calls come in from other marketers for our companies? It's ridiculous. But this differentiation and what you did, Spencer, was like, you just made it seem like it was a gift and you're giving value. So that kind of the strategy that we've talked about is like, find someone that's active in the group, thank them. And maybe you reference like, hey, we've had a really good quarter. And, you know, a part of our company is we want to have an impact and give back. So I've seen, Spencer, that you've been super active in this group. So I'm going to show you what worked for us. And I hope you can take this and you can run with this in your business. And like, here's like here's where you're weak, here's where you're strong, getting more reviews, all these different things. This person that is a landscaper is not going to be like, oh shit, this is like, I'm going to do SEO now. Like, I know that normally I like grind stumps and pull out trees, but now like this guy taught me this in 3 minutes. I'm going to be an SEO. No, they're like, okay, like, can I hire you? Can I pay you to do this for me? And you've created that trust. And that's what the pattern interrupt is. Imagine like flipping this the other way. If a landscaper, if you're interested in getting your trees trimmed and your landscaper's like, hey man, this is what you need to do. You need like an 8-foot ladder and you're going to need like this chainsaw and these other things like, oh, okay, nope. Landscaper, I know that you know what you're doing. Come cut this tree down, right? It's the same thing for them. They don't want to do tech. They built their whole life about working outside, right? So don't feel bad about giving away the farm to these people. They're not going to do it. What you're going to do is you're going to establish trust and you're going to lead with value. It's a super, it's just the way it's a great way to kind of get that sales conversation started. And kind of like the what you talked about, Spencer, is how it works from like the way I feel about it a lot of times. These conversations go from like, they're not really sales conversations anymore. They've just become like negotiations, right? It's just like how much this person's already decided they want to pay you. They want to know like, what's the least that they can pay you to get the most? And, you know, if you know what your value is, then like you can decide to take it or leave it based on like what they're willing to come to. But usually they're going to come up and you set it in a way where it's beneficial for both of you guys. It's a no-brainer, but you have to get through that like marketer stink at the beginning of it. And you can't sound like a marketer when you're pitching these people.
Yeah, I would recommend like listening to the calls that come in from other marketers, you know, and do the opposite of what they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to make sure that everybody understands there's like a variation that I do with this method. So if you're just going into a group and you're offering an audit, what I was doing initially after Patric caught me was I was just pretending, number one, that these people all have a marketing company and a website person. So I was shooting holes in their GMB or whatever it is, saying, hey, I would have your marketing person take care of this. Hey, I'd have your website guy take care of that. Everybody in the world wants to be like their competition as far as, oh, wait, we don't have a marketing person or we don't have a website guy. Oh, crap. We need to hire somebody. And this guy sounds like he's smart enough to know what he's doing. Maybe we need to hire him.
Well, and trustworthy enough.
Yeah. So that's like that psychology piece of like just assumption. Like you guys, everybody has a marketer and a website person, right? You know, and so it's that piece. Now, if they come to me as far as like, hey, I've seen what you guys do, blah, blah, blah. Obviously at that point, I'm not pretending that they have a marketing person or a website person. So then you just kind of dive right in and say, hey, this is how we can help you. Here's the problems. Here's the solutions that we can help you with those problems. So When you can fix people's problems, and that's the hardest thing in the past for me is prior to doing these audits, you get on these phone calls and they'd be an hour long, like just time suck. And these people are contractors. Like they're not intelligent people when it comes to knowing what we do, you guys. And so you can sit there and go, well, what is it, Jeff, that you guys were doing? Well, I know I'm paying this guy for SEO, but blah, 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 blah. And I'm not, they don't know really what's going on a lot of times. Once you can get in and you can use some of these tools that you have available, like LeadSnap with the heat maps, Ahrefs to show about like their domain ratings, things like that, it locks it down. And they go, holy crap, like look at all these problems in my business. And Spencer's able to help me.
Spencer. All right, guys, we're over an hour here. I know that this call was like, I want to mix it up. I want to give things to you guys in different formats. So as always, I would love to hear the feedback. So once we post this in the group, the comments disappear as soon as we close this thing. But once we post this in the group, I'd love to hear if there's big takeaways from you. If you guys enjoyed this kind of format, interviewing, kind of digging in a little bit and find out what's working for someone, because look, there's a million ways to be successful in this. And what I do and what Jeff does in our agency may not resonate with all of you. So I think it's important when we have somebody else who's done tweaks on different things and they've got different takes. Maybe that's going to resonate more with you. So I like to try to mix it up, but let us know. Let us know in the comments, in the feedback, what are your takeaways from this video? And then do what you guys got to do. You guys got 7 days before the next call. If you want your business to move forward, spend more of your time in those columns off to the right, doing big things, getting stuff in place to create the wins. Guys, a win doesn't have to look like closing a client. It could be, hey, you know what? I picked out my first 3 niches. I've taken action. For those of you guys that are in the accountability groups, you guys should all be locked into your groups now. I'm excited. I've seen a lot of activity going on in those groups. I know that those groups have had a profound effect on a lot of people's businesses, and I hope and I anticipate that will be the same here for Q3. So I'm excited to see what you guys can do with those. All right, guys. Spencer, really appreciate you being open and kind of sharing what's going on with you and being an open book with this stuff, man. I know that it's going to inspire some other people, which is amazing. So the rest of you guys, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have an awesome week. Do your best to create some wins. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the group.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Spencer.
You're welcome. See ya.
All right, guys. Adios.